so he thought. Robert woke up. He spilled coffee on his shirt. He missed the bus. Just another Tuesday, he sighed. Little did he know, this Tuesday was about to get a whole lot more interesting. Very, very interesting. He finally arrived at work late as usual. His boss, Mrs. Periwinkle, gave him the stink eye. Robert wished he'd stayed in bed. He stared out the window, longing for escape, and then he saw it. A cow, dancing on the sidewalk. This was no ordinary cow. This cow moved with the grace of Fred Astaire and the sass of Ginger Rogers. It moonwalked, it pirouetted, it even did the worm, hooves flying. The cow wore a tiny sparkling top hat tilted at a rakish angle. Its tail swished in time with the music only it could hear. Robert rubbed his eyes. Was he dreaming? He pinched himself. Nope, still real. Each move the cow made was bolder than the last. Pedestrians stopped, jaws agape. A flock of pigeons scattered, bewildered. This cow was a dancing machine, and it owned the street. Robert stared, mouth hanging open. Was this a hallucination? Stress-induced delirium? He'd heard about things like this happening. He just never thought it would happen to him, especially not on a Tuesday. The cow winked at him. Robert blinked. He looked around for hidden cameras. This had to be a prank show, but no, it seemed he was the only one not in on the joke. Except, maybe, for the pigeons. The cow finished its routine with a flourish, landing on one hoof and mooing triumphantly. The tiny top hat tumbled to the ground. People applauded. A dog barked. Robert just stood there, stunned. Suddenly, the cow was right outside Robert's window. It tapped on the glass with a hoof. "Hey, you," it mooed, its voice surprisingly high-pitched. "You look like you could use a little fun in your life." Robert's jaw dropped. The cow was talking. "Talking? You... what?" He stammered, his voice barely a whisper. He couldn't believe this was happening. "I need a partner for the Barnyard Boogie Championship," the cow explained, ignoring Robert's shock. "You seem like you've got potential. What do you say?" Robert stared. The cow stared back, tapping its hoof impatiently. He looked from the cow to his drab office, then back to the cow. Decision made. Section 5, Sidewalk Shenanigans and Bovine Bedlam. Robert followed the cow, who introduced itself as T-Bone, down the street. He felt like Alice down the rabbit hole. T-Bone, it turned out, was a harsh dance coach. "More hip action," T-Bone would bellow as Robert stumbled through a clumsy box step. "And for heaven's sake, smile. We're supposed to be having fun." They practiced in the park, drawing a crowd of giggling onlookers. A mime tried to join in, but T-Bone shooed him away with a flick of her tail. "No copycats," she declared. By lunchtime, Robert was sweating, exhausted, and strangely exhilarated. He had danced with a cow, and not just any cow, a sassy, tap-dancing, barnyard boogie-bound cow. His life was officially weirder than fiction. The Barnyard Boogie Championship was being held at the local fairgrounds. The place was packed. Goats in tutus mingled with pigs wearing fedoras. A chicken wearing a sequined dress pecked at some spilled popcorn. T-Bone, in a custom-made glittery halter top, was a vision. "Ready to wow them, partner?" she asked, winking at a completely overwhelmed Robert. Robert, wearing his best, and only, suit, felt a surge of adrenaline. He had never done anything like this before. But, as T-Bone liked to remind him, life's too short to be boring. The music started. The spotlight hit them, and they were off. The crowd went wild as Robert, guided by T-Bone, somehow managed to avoid tripping over his own 2 feet. They waltzed, they tangoed, they even attempted a conga line, much to the amusement of the audience. Their routine was a blur of flying hooves, flailing limbs, and unexpected grace. T-Bone was a whirlwind of bovine energy, while Robert, fueled by pure terror and adrenaline, somehow kept up. The final pose saw T-Bone striking a dramatic pose, one hoof on Robert's shoulder as he bowed deeply, his face a mask of relief and disbelief. The applause was deafening. The next morning, Robert woke up in his own bed. He had a massive headache, his feet ached, and his suit was ruined. But he couldn't stop smiling. He had won the Barnyard Boogie Championship with a dancing cow. The local news was filled with their story. "Dancing. Cow steals the show," one headline screamed. Another declared, "Local man and bovine partner tango their way to victory." Robert was an overnight sensation. He even got a nod of approval from Mrs. Periwinkle. "Not bad, Robert, not bad," she said, a hint of a smile on her lips. "Just try to be on time tomorrow." Life, Robert realized, was full of surprises. One day, you're an ordinary guy spilling coffee on your shirt, and the next you're winning dance competitions with a sassy cow. He learned that sometimes you just have to embrace the absurd. As for T-Bone, she became a local celebrity, teaching dance classes in the park and advocating for animal rights. Her motto, "Don't have a cow, man, just dance," became a local catchphrase. And Robert? He never looked at Tuesdays the same way again.